What's up, guys? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome, and as usual, we'll be checking out some more Reddit posts. So be sure to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments, and we're getting right into it. Entitled mother demands I add her order to another customer's bill. Hi, so this happened about 6 years ago, back in 2019. I, female, was 24 years old at the time when I was still living in New Jersey. Just finished college and was working as a shift manager at a fast food restaurant, which I will not name, while also doing my tattoo apprenticeship. One day, one of the cashiers, who I will call Jane, came up to me and asked for help, as there was a situation at the counter she didn't really know how to deal with. At the counter was this man and his son, and behind him was this woman with 2 younger kids. The man then explained that he is the father of his 10-year-old son, and the woman behind him is his ex, who is the mother of his son, but he is not the father of her 2 other kids. He had custody of his son today, so he was taking him out for lunch and to visit a museum. But the baby mama and her 2 other kids, as he called her, just so happened to also show up at the restaurant the same time he pulled up. She was demanding that he also treat her 2 other kids for lunch and take them to the museum as well. But the man said he is responsible for his son and his son only. His ex then tried to interject, saying that she didn't want her kids to be left out while her oldest kid, the son, got special treatment, and that their dads are not in the picture. That said, she wanted the man to pay for the lunches of her 2 other kids as well. I told Jane I'll take it from here, and the man told me that he will order 2 Baconator combos for himself and his son. As I was taking his order, the woman then tried shouting the order for her 2 other kids. The man and his ex then started arguing again. The man then turned to me, adamantly stating he will only pay for his order and that of his son, plus he will pay in cash. The woman then started shouting at me to add her order to his as well. I just told the woman that she will need to wait her turn. The man paid for his order and waited. The woman then came up to me, gave me her order plus that of her kids, but when I told her the price of her 5 combos for herself and her 2 kids, she then asked, didn't Booker, referring to her ex, already pay for it? I told her that his order was only for himself and his son, and that her order was separate from his. Also, I only took her order after the man paid, so yeah. The woman then started screaming at me how hard it is for her to be a single mom. She doesn't have the money to pay, but she was pointing to the man, her ex again, saying that he should have paid for her order, as he's single, has a full-time job, and lives by himself. The man then shouted, reiterating that her 2 other kids are not his responsibility. I told the woman that I sympathize with her, I genuinely do, but that I can't just add her order to that of another customer who already paid, and very specifically said he'd only pay for his order. I then asked her if she's still paying for her order or if I need to cancel it. She then tried to grab the credit card from her ex. He pushed her off, then she left, telling the man to take her 2 other kids with him to the museum. Yes, she legit just left her kids with him. At this point, I didn't really know what else to do, but the man told me that he'd also like to buy some fries and chili for her 2 other kids he left with her, and told me that he dropped them off at his ex's, the mom's place, himself. I told him not to bother paying for the extra fries as it's on the house, and I'll just add extra fries to his existing order. I decided to share this because I recently witnessed another parent randomly abandoning their kid at a Taco Bell, and that reminded me of this. Okay, let's call the park officer. This happened July 4th weekend. I am a member and have a place in a self-contained camp community. Nice quiet place with a lake and pools and a restaurant and things like that. I love it because my kid can be a kid like I was and go wander with friends and disappear until dinner time, and I don't have to worry. Our place is on a small cul-de-sac that is grassed in, and we use it for kids to play and set up cornhole and all that. Because it's July 4th, a bunch of people have guests, so the park is more full than normal, and a guest of someone on the circle parked at the edge of the grass. Well, my kid and another kid were playing catch, and one of the kids missed the ball and it hit the parked car. Owner of the car comes out hot and going at the kids. Me and the other kid's parent both go over to calm the situation. Obviously, if there's damage, we'll take care of it because it's from our kids. But this guy starts going off about all these dents and this big scratch and a crack in the windshield, and all this is the kid's fault. I was willing to be reasonable, but when you start saying you want a ton of extra work done trying to blame my kid, I get a little less reasonable. So we're going back and forth, and then he says the magic word, that if we aren't willing to pay for everything, he's going to call the park safety office to come deal with it. Knowing where this was going, I smiled and said, yes, okay, let's do that. So the officer comes out, and to no one's surprise but this guy, the area his car is parked in is a no parking area. So not only does the officer tell him to deal with it, because if he had followed the rules and parked in an actual parking zone, this wouldn't have happened, and because the guy told him he'd been parked there for 2 days with no issues before now, he got a nice fat ticket and order to move his car. He turned bright red but didn't say another word and moved his car, and we didn't see or hear from him the rest of the weekend. A little kid keeps coming into my house. I live out in the country near a big main road and on a county road. I am the closest property to the main road, but as you continue down, I have a couple of neighbors. We live on 40 acres and have a little farmhouse, where I live with my husband and dogs, along with some farm animals outside. I do not have kids. We live a calm and peaceful life. However, there have now been 2 occasions in which a young child that lives a third of a mile down the road has come into our house uninvited. The first time I was home alone and had just showered, doing my nails and watching a show in my makeup room. Next thing I know, I see a small shadow that looked like a preschool-age kid open my fence gate and open my front door. I had no idea who this was, and I FaceTimed my husband in case he knew who this could be. But as we checked the cameras, there were no cars or other adults around. I was in my underwear with my door closed and freaking out. Like I mentioned, I live out in the country, and due to my neighbors all being so far away, had no idea who this kid was or where he came from. I put some pants on and went out into my living room, and this kid was running around my living room and kitchen, playing with my dogs with no worry in the world. I tried to get him to calm down and ask him what his name was or where his parents were, and nothing. He ignored me and kept playing. After a couple of minutes, I think he got bored, and he opened my door, went out the gate, and ran out to the back of my house. I lost sight of him and continued to look out towards the road in case I could figure out where he came from. Finally, I saw a young girl approaching from the neighbor's side of the road, and she shouted at me, "Where is he?" I told her I had no idea where he was, but that I had seen him go towards the back of my house, and she could go look for him. She looked annoyed, but I guess she was able to grab him at some point and took him back towards the direction our neighbor's house is at. At that point, I had honestly been super upset and yelled, "Keep that kid out of my property and out of my house," to which she just yelled sorry over her shoulder. After that, no one ever came back to apologize. My husband eventually went to the family to ask what had happened, and was told that they had been unloading groceries and the little boy had managed to run away. How they didn't realize this until so much later, I'm not sure. Anyways, a year later, I would say this little boy is 5 or 6 now. I get a call from my husband while we are at work. He tells me there's a little boy in our house and that he came in through our dog door. Immediately, I ask if it's the same one as last time. He says he saw them on our cameras, but he can't be sure. He tells me that before calling me, he already called the cops, but that they are on their way. The footage shows the kid opening our closed fenced gate and coming to our front door. Our dogs are barking at him in the yard. He attempts to open the front door, sees it's locked, knocks, and then just stands there thinking. Then he crawls in through our dog door. Our dogs have the ability to go in and out of the house as they like since their fence is closed in. But I guess this kid just figured he could do the same. Anyways, he comes in and opens the dog door to make sure the dogs can come in too. He takes off his shoes when he comes in, and then he goes to jump on my couch and play with my dogs. After that, he turns on my TV, goes into my fridge and grabs ice pops and eats an orange from our fruit basket. Huh? He is in our house unsupervised for a total of about 15 minutes until the cops arrive and are able to get him out. He crawled out through the dog door. The cops ask him his name and he tells them. They ask where his parents are and where he lives, and he tells them as well. The cops tell him he is not allowed to do this, that it is not his house. A couple minutes later, a car pulls into my driveway. It's the parents. The cops talk to them for a bit and they all leave. My husband left work to get home, but by the time he got there, everyone was gone. The cops pretty much said that it was just a kid being a kid. My husband then went down to the neighbors and told the parents to take care of their kid. I was upset because he did wait for me to go talk to them. He knew how upset I was. The dad apologized and stated that the boy had been grounded and snuck out through his bedroom window. Apparently, he just likes to play with my dogs. The dad told the little boy to apologize to my husband. At this, the little boy spit at his dad. A week later, my husband got a call from the parents, asking if by chance this kid was in our house again, because they could not find him. We were both at work but did not see him in any of our cameras. At this point, I've calmed down quite a bit, but as soon as I remember, I get quite mad. I think it is insanely upsetting that I'm more aware of where this little boy is than his own parents are. Once again, he is not right next door to me. He had to be unsupervised for at least 30 minutes in order to make his way to my house, about a 5-minute walk, be here for 15 minutes and have the cops get here until his parents found him. He knows what he is doing, the parents are aware, but no one truly takes accountability for it. The little boy says he likes to play with my dogs, but instead of playing with them in my yard, comes into my house and makes himself at home. I feel bad for calling the cops, but I truly feel like there's a need to report this, because I'm scared for my safety and that of my animals and property. If he were to leave the gate open, my dogs would definitely run out and into the main road and get run over. My house is not child-proofed at all. We had a flamethrower on the kitchen table the day he came in. My husband had killed a spider outside with it. I am concerned for this little boy's safety, but at the same time, I do not want to be responsible or liable if anything were to happen to him out in our property. I also would like to feel safe in my own home. I don't feel like I should be having to keep my dogs in a kennel all day and close their doggy door, just because there is a kid out there who is not monitored and was never taught to respect people's privacy. If he snuck out through his window, I'm sure he could sneak in through one as well. There's so many what-ifs in this situation, and it might just be my anxiety, but I am definitely very upset. I guess this is more of a rant, and I just hope this doesn't happen again, because I do intend to have the cops on speed dial. Anyway friends, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this, and drop a comment down below. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time.